let's talk about the Michigan offense against this Central Michigan defense. And I think a lot of people disappointed with clearly the way the offense played last week. The offensive line performed. The play calling, the game plan coming in seemed conservative, especially on some of those third downs. They go 1 of 9 when they threw on third down. They threw short of the sticks 6 of those 9 pass attempts, a lot of screens, a lot of handoffs. And I think it's an opportunity, though, against the Central Michigan defense that has been really poor against the pass so far. And I watched the entire CMU Pitt game last night, and there were guys running wide open all over the place. I hate to break it to you, Anthony. And I'm just kidding. Coverage.
Anthony's resigned.
I know. I'm just messing with him. But
listen, I got my alma mater win at Michigan out of the way during that basketball game 2 years ago where there were only 12 people in the stands. So we got that out of the way already.
All right, good.
And 10 of them were CMU fans. Yeah,
that's right.
And one of them was a writer that was there, I think, right? So, yes, there were receivers running wide open. You have to give Pitt credit. Eli Holstein, their quarterback, is good. It has a really good arm, and they have some talent over there. But, Michigan's got some talent too. Michigan has a quarterback with a really good arm as well. So I would imagine they open it up a little bit more. CMU is allowing a bunch of big plays, 13 plays of 20-plus yards. That ranks 119th in the country through 2 weeks. 12 of those have been through the air. They're allowing 8.4 yards per pass. I did think the run defense was pretty good against Pitt. And then Pitt just decided to just start throwing it all over the yard, and that worked. But I think that you'll see some more opportunities for Bryce Underwood in this game.
Yeah, I do too. And no need to really run him this game, right? But I think you're going to see an offense similar to what we saw in week 1, where they put the ball in his hands a little bit more, some more RPOs, let him make some decisions. Of course, it's a lot easier, right, when you're playing an overmatched defense. So how overmatched will they be depends on what the offensive line looks like. I don't know what CMU's defensive line or front seven looks like, but I'm sure it's not nearly as good as Oklahoma's. But that doesn't mean that you can't scheme the same way. If you see some things on film, how did they take away the RPOs? How did they take away some of the things that Michigan likes to do on offense? So I would imagine they will learn from that. So will it be easy? Who knows, right? Who knows what to expect, especially if it's a piecemeal offensive line with guys playing out of position. I doubt that Gio Al-Hadi will play, right? I can't imagine that's going to happen. And boy, if that's not pass interference, then it's at least holding, isn't it? By the way, the picture that we're showing up there. I'm sorry, folks who are listening, but we're showing photos here of all the holding penalties in the Oklahoma game. And our Isaiah Hole, our buddy over at Wolverines Wire, had a ton of them too. But man, they didn't get a very good whistle that night. So anyway, regardless, that's coming back to Bryce. I think that turn him loose a little bit, right? And get more comfortable in the passing game. And hopefully, guys, this thing starts to gel a little bit better, because next week is the big test. Next week is really the game, in my opinion, that's going to determine the direction of the season.
Yeah, I think the one thing, and I had only watched, I haven't seen much of the Pitt game yet because I just haven't got around to it, but I did watch the entire game that they played against San Jose State. And CMU's physical on both sides of the ball. I think it's, you look for when you're such a big favorite in a game, you look for the little areas where you could be tested. And, for a Michigan offensive line that, yes, you're probably going to be down Gio Al-Hadi, but even with him, questions about physically imposing your will and moving guys off the ball. I think this is going to be a good test for them. And I'd agree with you. I think the run defense probably way ahead of their pass defense right now. And it's where I think this relationship between Bryce Underwood and Donovan McCulley is going to be something that I think can take a big step forward, because we did see them target him down the field. He had that 44-yard catch in that Oklahoma game. But 3 catches on 9 targets, they're just not quite on the same page yet. And it does seem like that downfield passing, and we're not even talking the deep balls. I mean, we're talking the intermediate shots between, 10, 15 yards, whatever it is. It seems like that's something they want to do a little bit more. Got to block and give your quarterback time to make those plays as well as getting him on the move. They don't necessarily need to run Bryce Underwood to, I think, unlock what he does super well. So those are kind of the areas I'll be honing in on offense this week. I think there's probably going to be big plays to be had through there. There's probably Justice Haynes is probably going to rip off another long run. I think those plays will be there. It's just a matter of, I want to see them, even with Sharon Moore not there, you want to see this team offensively pick an identity, and that's what they build around moving forward. Things were way too tentative, and we use the term lack of conviction a lot over the last week or so. You just want to see them run what they're going to run and do it with confidence.
Yeah, I agree. And it will be interesting with the run game. And yeah, you have these big plays that Justice Haynes is creating, but it's interesting that they have not been generating those 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-yard runs or 12-yard runs. And it is interesting. Sharon Moore mentioned it on Monday, how a couple of years ago when he was the offensive line coach and offensive coordinator against ECU, I believe was the game he was referring to, and a couple of those games early in the 2023 season, they were getting a lot of those 6, 7, 8, 9. They weren't getting the big ones, and everyone's wondering, where are those, Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum runs, and then they ended up coming right at the end of the year against Washington in the national championship game. Blake breaks out a huge one down the sideline, even after Donovan Edwards ran for 2 really long ones. So sometimes those will come. This might be more concerning, though, that you're getting a couple long ones because you have a great back, and you did open some holes on a few plays there, but consistently, you're not really doing that. Michigan has 4 plays of 40-plus yards this season. That ranks 14th in the country, but they're 121st in the country with only 17 of 10-plus yards. The run game, those 4 rushes of 10-plus yards, all of them are over 50 yards. 3 of them are over 50 yards. So 3 of 4 are 50-yarders, and you only have 4 that have gone for 10-plus total. So you kind of want to see them maybe gash Central Michigan a little bit more. But like we said, they actually did stop the run pretty well the first couple of weeks. Stay away from turnovers, I think, obviously another key in any game, but CMU's forced 4 through 2 games this year. A pick kind of changed the complexion of the game last week against Pitt. Pick late in the first half allows CMU to score. Then they scored again right after the half, kind of won that middle portion of the game. And you don't want it to really be one of those games. You want to be able to just keep your foot on the gas in this game, I think, and really put up a good, inspiring offensive performance that creates some rhythm for you, creates a lot of confidence for you going into a much bigger game the next week.
Yeah, and that's pretty much sums it up. And I'd like to, you said, I'd like to see Jordan Marshall get going here. He has more to give. I have no question about that. So, and again, part of that comes with the rest of the offense doing their jobs too. The big runs, you need the receivers to do their share of blocking right on the big ones, but they've got to get to the second level and make it a little easier for these guys to only have one guy to miss here to break off some of those 10-yard runs. So let's see what happens this weekend. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
I would just say that the body blows are what are going to open you up to having more of the big runs that they've had. If you can find a way, just even get 3 yards. I mean, we're talking, I think last week when you take out the Justice Haynes run, it was like 2.34 yards per carry or something like that. So, not looking for you to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust, so to speak, but cloud of dust, I should say. But yeah, it just needs to be a little more better and a little more consistent there.